Hey, in this video we'll be making a collectible in Unreal Engine using blueprints. So collectibles, they're fairly simple. You've got to make an object and you need to be able to make many copies of that object, and when you touch that object it should disappear. That's the basic idea, and it would be nice if we could keep track of how many we've touched and collected. So in Unreal, we have our third person just template up here so that I can have a character to move around and grab stuff. So I'm going to create a new object. If you go into your content browser, right click in there and make a new blueprint class, we can choose an actor, just like a normal old object that we'll be creating that can be scripted. So we'll call this our collectible. If you double click on it, it'll open it up in the blueprint editor. And so blueprints are a combination of the object and all of its component geometry, as well as its script graph here. So if you go over to the viewport, we can see that there's just this placeholder ball there that's not really going to show up. We want to add something. So let's add like a cylinder and maybe flatten it a bit, rotate it. There we go. So maybe it's like kind of like a coin. And then in our event graph, this is where we would put any scripting that it might have. So if I wanted to say like spin on an axis or something. But I'm going to do my scripting on my character for now, so that my character causes these things to be picked up and destroyed. So I'll compile it, that will save it, and we've got some object that we can drag out here and just drop into the scene. Right now, just by default, it's a static collider, so I can jump on it and bump into it and stuff. And if you select it, you can go over on the right and mess around with some of its settings. So it looks like we're kind of limited on what we can do with the individual one that's in the scene. But if we open up the blueprint again, select the cylinder component, and then you can see in the details panel a lot of other options like simulate physics if we want this thing to like fall down on the ground. So maybe we do want to simulate physics. We'll just see how that works out. And maybe add some constraints, like maybe I don't want it to rotate about a certain axis so that it doesn't flop over. We'll see if those are the right axes. I think this is, I don't remember if it's a world or local axis, but we'll find out. Yep, looks like I got it right. So we're able to knock it around, it obeys gravity and forces applied to it. So that's cool. But I kind of want, I want it so that I can detect when I collide with it. Often though, you don't really want to collide with collectibles. If you collide with a collectible, then you'll kind of get bumped back from it. Say you're like jumping over a pit and there's a coin over the pit. You don't want to hit the coin, collect it, and then fall straight down the pit. You want to just pass through the coin. So I kind of want to disable collisions with the character. So to do that, we'll go back into our blueprint editor with the cylinder selected, and we want to go to the collision section. Collision, here we go. So In the collision section, it gives you these options. Make sure that it does have generate overlap events checked. We want that so that we can tell when we overlap with this object. We will also want to change its presets here. It says collision presets. It will simulate physics, and it will just collides as normal with things. But there are lots of other presets we can choose from this. We can also choose custom, where we decide which things it overlaps with, which things it blocks and gets knocked around by, and which things it just plain ignores, doesn't generate any events for. So let's say let's say it overlaps with pawns. That should be pawns are things that can be controlled by like players or AI. So let's try that one. So it's just overlapping with pawns. Cool. All right. Bugs out a bit when my camera goes through it, but yeah. So maybe I need to make it so the camera can't collide with that thing. That's probably what it is. All right, let's see. Visibility. Let's ignore visibility and camera traces. Yeah, that seems good. Okay, cool. Yeah, so my camera was detecting that there was like a wall in the way, so the camera zoomed right up so that it wasn't obscured. Okay, so that's pretty good. We can now overlap with it. And now I want to adjust my character's blueprint. So select on my character, edit blueprint, open blueprint editor. This thing already has a blueprint, right? So because you're controlling it and everything, and I already have some of these from what I did in class. So let me get rid of this stuff. We'll make it over again. This event, actor begin overlap, is the one I want. If you don't have it, you can right click and check out all of the events. There are lots of them, but it's in the collision section. Actor begin overlap. All right, so if we begin overlap with an actor, we would like to know if it actually is a collectible. One way to do that is we can tag our collectibles so that they say what they are. They say that they are collectibles. So let's go over to my collectible prefab. Go to the collectible self. This is the actor, the top level of this thing. And if I scroll down to actor and expand that, I find tags. There are other places where there are things called tags, like component tags, but I'm going to be using the actor tags. So make sure that you're in the actors section here. We'll add a tag, call it collectible. And then in my third person character script, I can check to see if, let's see, where is it? Other actor has tag. Yes, actor has tag. So we can check to see if the thing that we've overlapped with has a tag. We'll see if it has the collectible tag. And branch based on that. So this is like an if statement. If that's true that it has that tag, then we'll do something. If it's false, well, in this case, we'll do nothing. If it's false, we'll just ignore anything else. So if it is true that it has that tag, let's try destroying it. Destroy actor. And the actor we want to destroy is actually the other actor. So if you leave it on self, it'll destroy whatever the script is attached to, which is the third person character right now. All right, that looks okay. Can test that out. Cool. All right, so we can overlap with it, and when we overlap with a collectible, it gets destroyed. So now We've got something that can be collected. We just need to make it count up. So back in my third person character, I'd like to make a variable. I already have one here. Let me get rid of that. I'll make a new variable called money, or collectible count, or whatever you want to call it. Make a new variable over here on the left. I can click here to change the type of variable, and so I'm just going to be counting regular numbers, so whole numbers. Integer makes sense. And if I want it to be editable, to be exposed publicly so it can be changed by other stuff, then I want to click on that eye, open up that eye, the visibility. That's not strictly necessary here, but I'll show you where it shows up. So we got money, it's an integer. There's a tooltip, so you can give information about this. The amount of money the player has. And the category is where it's going to show up in the details panel if it is public. So you should be able to see it there. Once you compile this, you should see the default value set. And we can change that default value if we wanted to start off with some. But I'm going to leave it at 0. Alright, so let's see. When we get one of these guys, one of these collectibles, we'll destroy it, but we also want to count up, like add 1 to our money. So to add 1 to our money, we can grab our variable here and set money. We'll be setting it to a new value, and that new value is the old value. So let's get money, and we'll add 1. So old money plus 1 is the new value for money. All right, and then just to make sure that it works, we can print string. So print string will just print out onto our screen just some text, and we can put whatever text we want. I want to put something to do with my money, which if I just put a number, it wouldn't mean a whole lot. So I'm going to try a different thing here. I'm going to try build string. So with build string, I'll choose the integer version. It's kind of like taking that integer now and wrapping text around it. So I can put stuff in front of it and put stuff behind it. I'm going to get my money, plug it in there, and I'll prefix it with just money, colon. There we go. Let's play. And now when I collect it, you should look in the upper left of this viewport. Money, 1. There we go. And because I made the collectible a blueprint, it's really easy for me to throw out more of these. And whenever I modify the blueprint, it'll change all of the existing ones. Money 1, 2, and 3. Good. So when you select this guy, if he has some public variables, like I did for money when I made it public, you can see them in the, well, by default, they go into this default category, and then you can modify their value, their starting value there. All right, so that's how you can make a collectible, and I'll see you later.